I became depressed and suicidal as a teenager. When I hit rock bottom at 20 years old, I really wanted to die. But one of my greatest misfortunes was that my parents loved me too much. And I knew I had to keep my physical body alive for them. So, to satisfy my suicidal fantasy, I buried that sad little girl, Mu-Yin, in the corner of my heart and promised her I would do whatever it took to live a good life for her. But you see, the dilemma in life is that you cannot make everybody happy. In order for me to make myself happy, I knew the first thing I had to do was to disappoint my parents. And if I'm honest, I was more terrified of that than death. I'd rather be dead. But I thought perhaps, just perhaps, perhaps my parents would prefer having a disappointing daughter who was alive than a perfect daughter who was dead. So I summoned all my courage and went to my parents and told them I had decided to give up my degree from the best university in Taiwan and go to music school overseas. Now, my parents were shocked. My dad tried to talk me out of it. He said, "You're almost all the way through college. Why can't you just wait a little bit longer and get your degree in Japanese first before going to music school? That way you will have 2 degrees and more options in the future." I was majoring in Japanese at the time because Taiwan and Japan had a really close relationship. It was a great career choice. Up until then, I had been living the traditional Asian path of being a good daughter, getting into a good college, so that I could eventually get a good job and live happily ever after. That was the perfect plan, right? But that was the path I tried so hard to follow and failed. That was the path that made me question if my parents loved me only because I excelled at school, only because I followed their expectation. So when I heard my dad's response to my big decision, I was ticked off. I felt the urge to blow up. And this was what I really wanted to tell my parents. I wanted to tell them, "I cannot wait any longer. I hate my life and I see no hope in my future. Music is the only thing that makes me feel happy. From where I stand, I only see 3 options. Option number 1, I kill myself so you don't have to worry about this rebellious daughter anymore. Option number 2, I go live in a temple and become a Buddhist nun, so I don't have to worry about the stupid responsibilities in life anymore. And option number 3, I go to music school." I believe both of you would prefer option number 3. That was what I wanted to tell my parents, not what I actually told them. Because I was a good Asian daughter after all. Plus, I needed them to pay for my tuition. And that is not the right way to talk to your sponsors. So what does a good Asian daughter do? You play guilt trip. I started crying. "I have lived for you for 20 years. I would like to live for myself from now on." When she heard this, my mom responded in shock. "What do you mean by you live for us? We didn't expect you to do that." Clearly, there had been some kind of miscommunication over the years. That caused me a lot of suffering, unnecessary suffering. In the end, even though my parents didn't understand me, but they loved me enough to support my decision. So I packed 2 suitcases full and moved to England to study music. I felt like I just joined the witness protection program funded by my generous and unfortunate parents. I gave up everything in my past, my achievements, my friends, my memories, and my identity. I started living in a new country, learning a new skill, and speaking a new language. I made new friends who called me by my new name, Molly. Nobody knew who I was, and nobody cared. It was awesome. There was no expectation, no preconception. I got to be me. Everything was new. Everything was adventure. Life suddenly had meaning again. I told that sad little girl, Mu-Yin, we're starting a new life. From now on, no matter what happens in life, no matter what other people say or do to you, I will cherish and protect you. I will always be here for you. I will always love you. P.S. Mom and Dad, if you hear this story on the internet, I'm sorry, I love you, thank you, I would not be here without you.
Give it up for Mu-Yin. Woo!